What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Watchpoint Post Show, live from the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. I'm so excited to be back. I'm your host, Malik Forte, joined at the desk by Zoe, Bryn, and Wolf. It's been an entertaining day, to say the least. Wolf,
I'm exhausted.
Exhausted?
Being a Shanghai fan is super hard.
Yeah.
Like, that was a
Oh
rough
my
last
goodness.
game. I'm not
Straight
gonna lie.
in the fields right there. It reminded me a lot of last year.
I love series like that. The seesaw, though, you know, between both teams' strengths, the Sombra play coming out from Ding, but
Yes.
then obviously AKM when he has the same level playing
Yes.
field, his Zarya management. It was honestly a wonderful series.
And RCK too. His Sombra's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Wolf, what was your biggest takeaway for the day?
I guess for me, the biggest takeaway is Paris isn't the best 3-3 team. You know, they were touted as this for a really long time, but it's just no longer the case. I don't think anyone could say this is the best 3-3 team when you have teams like Vancouver and New York out there, and they struggled so much against Atlanta.
They were playing Bastion today. Never thought I'd see Paris doing that. That was wild. What about you, Brent?
For me, I think I need to just stop underestimating the Texas teams because I predicted against Dallas, I
Yes.
predicted against Houston. Both of them won today, so yeah. For me, it's I need to start giving a bit more credit, I think, to the Texans, but not too much credit because their fans can get a little bit, irritating. So you don't want to blow up their egos too much, Don't want to give them too much to cheer for. Just keep them right in check,
You
Somewhere
gotta
in the
keep the
middle.
little lamb chop hanging.
Yeah,
above
yeah,
them,
exactly,
You can't give it all to them. You can't give it all. What about you, Zoe?
Well, what did I learn today? So many things, Malik.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's basically tying into the same things. Like Paris 3-3. Seemingly, they're not the best at it, even though we hyped them up to be. But it's good, I do like that. I don't like having those huge juggernauts where it's like, oh, no one's going to win against them. I like to have a more open play field. So thanks, Paris, for opening it up.
Things are
for everyone
shaking up
else.
a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, well, coming up in a little, we'll be joined by the Gladiators Academy graduate, Corey, now playing in the Overwatch League for the Washington Justice. And don't forget to pick up your Overwatch League All Access Pass so you can check out the live Q&A with Corey on Twitch right after Watchpoint. But let's get into the matches. The Dragons and Fuel both came into today 2-2, hoping to take a step closer to the stage playoffs. Things were all tied up coming into map 3, and given that Volsky is a good Sombra map, and Ding and RCK have been on Sombra quite a bit lately, we were due for a back and forth of sorts, and you better believe we went deep into the time bank on this map.
Oh yeah, we did. It went back and forth multiple times, as Volsky usually does. And Shanghai Dragons, honestly, very impressive that they managed to take this away from Dallas. I felt like Dallas were a stronger team in multiple moments of this series, so kudos to them to actually managing to take it.
Yeah, I think it really comes, Bren, down to the high ground control here on A. Like, it felt like on B was anyone's game to take, but for A, that was where Shanghai shone through, and that's where the final moments came in that second overtime.
Oh man, and let's I don't even want to go back to Dorado because this is just kind of a
I
heartbreaker.
do. I want to revisit this, and I want to see it in slow-mo. I want to see it
boy.
happen again just because we can. No, this is one of those moments where it's just... my heart goes out to the players. That must be the most devastating thing which can happen to you.
Yeah.
Even more so if it's caught on camera and then everyone can replay it.
It's part of the game. Here
There
it is, man. Here it is.
Walk
It's
it
what-
off,
what
young
we were
Jin.
waiting
Walk
for.
it off.
Look at this.
Well, Young John, he's
He's
just
just- there we
happy.
go.
He's like, yo, we're doing it. We're doing it.
Oh my goodness.
The
You just
baddest
hate to see it.
C9.
Oh,
You
man.
hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
But that is genuinely one of the worst Charlie Niners I've seen in quite some time.
It
Like,
certainly
in
is.
quite some time. Because, like, it's
It was
actually
like
terrible.
purposeful. I wasn't accidental stepping off. I going to purposely walk away.
Yeah, but it's so bad as well that I feel like I don't even want to make jokes at Youngjin's behalf. Because he's going to be devastated now as well after this. Because you gotta wonder as well. This went to map 5. What happens if Shanghai managed to push that a little bit further? Maybe they could have closed out the series.
Absolutely.
Like, that's going to be running through their minds constantly.
Well, Wolf and Achilleos pointed something out. That payload, it takes a second to get moving. So maybe he just thought in his head like it's already moving, but it wasn't.
Yeah, maybe he just was thinking like there was still that window before, it starts moving, but you still got to be on that. I don't know. It's a mental block. There's so much going on in your mind. They're potentially going to chase and get some kills, and your first thought is, let's go stagger some more respawns so we can push this further, but you're not pushing it anywhere if no one's on
It's like,
it.
geez, I know people are typically allergic to the payload, but well, that was something else right there, man. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and move on. The Paris Eternal entered their match against the Atlanta Reign, looking like they could be the best 3-3 team in the league, but Atlanta put that conversation to bed quite quickly. the Eternal, undefeated coming into today. But are they for real? The Atlanta Reign, their most doubted opponent to date, didn't seem to be believers. They came out the gates holding 0 punches. Paris, they came out the gates with Symmetra.
Yeah, that was an interesting one, wasn't it? I genuinely, I was so confused when I saw that because, you know, we had said so much. We've been praising Paris for so long about their triple tank, triple support, and they were very lackluster this series. But I don't want to, you know, throw too much shade at the Paris way because a lot of credit needs to go to Atlanta, in my opinion, as well, from watching this, because they absolutely knew the win conditions and how to essentially dismantle the way Paris play. Massa was taking the 1v1s into the high ground against Cruz, denying him, not allowing him to play as aggressively as he once did. Really fantastic play from the coaching staff. I think you need to give them kudos for really strategizing and managing to beat Paris in this win as well.
Yeah, this was incredible tailored to their opponents, and that was actually really, really enjoyable. It wasn't just a battle between Massa and Cruz, it was also Ben Best being focused continuously throughout the entirety of the series. On each and every single map, they tried to take him out first in the team fight. And yeah, it turns out if Cruz dies first, they're winning team fights. If Ben Best dies first, not so much, quite the opposite in fact.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting to see Paris playing off of 3-3. I wasn't sure if they were panicking playing that Bastion or if they were more so just trying to adapt to what Atlanta was doing.
It's actually kind of a funny thing, too, that they struggled so much against this old Orisa Junkrat Widow. It's pretty obvious that's what's coming when you see Inlair subbed in and, you know, you see the Junkrat come through from Arister. It almost feels like they forgot how to play against it, which was, it was a predominant meta on this map for so long. It's like, how could you forget? They just, I think, choked a little bit on that map.
Yeah, running the triple tank triple support into that, not the play in the slightest. But yeah, Atlanta, we've seen this on a regular basis now. When teams, they win out the series, they get their 3 points under their belts. They sort of, you know, let their hair down a little bit. But Atlanta, man, this is a squad that I got to give them props for it. You know, the entire fan base did call me out as well. I think they've taken the mantle as the most rabid fans in the Overwatch League at this point. But yeah, I got to give props to the team. I've already given props to the management. I think they played very well.
Right. So what led to Postshow outclassing Ben Best in the tank battle today?
I think it was just a really big combination of all the setups and generally the communication from the side of the Atlanta Reign. It was just so much superior. I mean, look at this stat card. This looks painful to do. Do you really think that's the worst? This was at the end of the series. When we were at halftime, Postshow was up double hero damage per 10. He was 5 times the final blows per 10. He charged his ult twice as quick, and he lived twice as long as Ben Best. So this stat card actually improved towards the end of it. Shout out to Matt, our researcher, who gave me the stats for this one. So yeah, Ben Best did not have a good time. Poor thing.
Is it safe to say that Ben Best was Ben Bested?
Wow!
Oh my goodness. Golden Boy's
That was a good one. That was a good
Golden
one.
Boy's not here. Somebody had to keep the dad moving on. I'm just saying, all right?
Moving on.
Now check it out. The Reign showed off some stylish plays on their way to that win, but none more swaggy than that big brain play between DeFran and Massa on Hollywood. We definitely need to take a bigger and closer look at that. So Brent, please break it down for us.
This was so cool to watch. You know, you get those flashbacks of Zumba on Eichenwald, you know, when he's hopping all over the place. But this one was fantastic. And I just really want to just highlight as well to a lot of people that might not understand quite exactly what's going on here. But Massa is using the speed boost, and DeFran is using the right click of the Zaryas to launch himself and propel themselves over the roof. Nobody's going to be expecting this. Zarya can't fly normally. You know, you may have never played Overwatch before. You might not be aware of this. But no one's going to be expecting the grab to just come from above like Batman on the crates in that one scene in the film. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been the first one, might have been the second one. You know, the one with Christian Bale. And, you know, he's like jumping down in the shipyard. You know what I'm talking about. Exactly. Yeah, I can't. But every time I see a player just jump down and do those maneuvers, it's always called Batman in my mind.
Right.
Okay.
The sickest, I feel like that's might have been the sickest graph that we've seen since the World Cup Zumba.
Yeah, genuinely, I think that is super inventive. But the thing is now, though, teams are going to be like Diva players. When they're holding close to that choke, they're going to be like looking at the skies. They're going to be completely paranoid about it.
The other thing, too, Brent, is that this came from apparently a Reddit strategy. So he saw a video of this, and then they were able to replicate that. So it kind of comes from, as far as I could tell, an average player like coming up with a strategy. Then they used it in tournament play. It's pretty awesome to see.
Indeed, indeed. Well, that is definitely some big brain stuff. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. The big brains at the desk will be right back with some more Watchpoint Post Show.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
That Jake is definitely assuming the role of vocal leader for the Houston Outlaws. It was a must-win for both teams today when Houston faced off against the Florida Mayhem. A tale of two teams fighting their way up from the bottom of the pack. Houston showing many looks lineup-wise, starting Linkster, Bonnie, and Cool Matt. Florida giving the new blood apply and McGravy some playing time. And yes, everyone, McGravy's still eating grabs like M&Ms.
Yeah, and I honestly, I loved seeing so many different players. We saw Linkster on that Zarya, and he actually did pretty decent. I did not expect that. I loved his transitioning onto the McCree or Orisa strats also. So I think overall we saw a lot of great moments from the Houston Outlaws, a lot more cohesion, and they were riding that high. You can see that, you know, being emotional is not always a negative thing. It can also be a great thing, because if you are able to take those high moments and ride them off from map to map to map, that's a recipe for win.
It's all about channeling it.
Yeah,
channeling it.
I feel like, for me, I'm a little bit less happy to see so many players. I do appreciate that Florida is basically really solidifying what those roles are. I mean, Tavik is the specialist. He plays the odd heroes like the Mei, for example. We're seeing Apply is more of the generalist. He actually is able to flex over here to the Genji. But I think it makes the Florida Mayhem predictable, as I pointed out in the cast earlier. You know, whenever you see these subs come through as the opponent team, you're like, okay, I've seen this 3-4 times already. I know exactly what's coming. I think the Florida Mayhem need to become more flexible with a more solid all-rounder 6 roster rather than trying to plug in puzzle pieces where they're needed.
I mean, this is 100% my issue as well with the Florida Mayhem. It's like, you're on Kings Row, you're on Rialto, you're seeing Tavik. You know, 90% of the time, they're going to be running a Mei. So, like, teams are going to be able to read into this super easily, and they're going to be able to play around it, as Houston did on Kings Row. They know how to play around the ice walls in the end. And this is going to be an issue for Florida Mayhem. I completely agree with you there, Wolf. Flexibility realistically needs to be the name of the game. But also, just generally speaking, they've got a lot of talent on this roster, and I feel like they're not being utilized properly. I don't want to harp on too much about it because, you know, obviously I think they're going to be reviewing these VODs. They know what they need to improve on. But generally speaking, you know, the ult economy has always been a little bit off for the Florida Mayhem, and they have been looking a little bit shaky for my liking, you know, as a squad. And I had high hopes coming in with this roster because they have pretty much revitalized the entire thing with a new team.
Right, and I think Florida's they're gonna find their mojo eventually. But I have a question for you real quick. You say you respect the Houston Outlaws. Did we have them all wrong? Are they actually stronger than we think they are? Because the matches that they did lose early in the season weren't by much.
Yeah, I think they've definitely looked better, to be honest. Like, they've improved steadily. It's not that they have always been this good and we were underrating them. Me, personally, I think I've been underrating them a little bit, you know?
Was it when you said that they never win a game this stage? Was that when you underrated them?
But listen, the idea of that statement, Zoe, was to throw the hottest take as the hottest take I could think of.
We're gonna let you off the hook on that one. We're not gonna bring that up anymore, okay? All right.
I did down a bottle of Sriracha hot sauce.
Yeah, you did. All right, well, with win number 2, the Outlaws enter a crowded field fighting for a playoff spot. And coming into today, the San Francisco Shock were one of those teams in that crowded 2-win field. So a win over the Washington Justice would be necessary to keep their playoff hopes alive. The Shock are trying to regain some of that respect after dropping 2 games in the stage already. Washington is looking for respect, period, and the Shock definitely gave them just that. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at the Justice, and what ended up being a record-breaking performance for the Shock.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, the Washington Justice overall, yes, they still don't have a win. I feel like their coordination has improved, especially around their tank line a lot.
Yeah.
But the big glaring issue remains is that they're using ultimates oftentimes incorrectly or too liberally, hoping for the best situation in a fight when it's just simply not safe to do so. And a lot of ultimates get wasted that way. Giannis and Guido in particular will just throw these out whenever they feel they individually see the moment, but it costs their team big when everyone's not on the same page.
I completely agree with you, Wolf. I think there's no question in my mind you can build a winning roster, a star roster, with some undervalued pieces. Boston have done it with two years in a row now, so there was no question in my mind when I saw this roster being announced that, you know, the talent wasn't going to be there. But the issue for me is, as you mentioned, Wolf, it's like the ultimate usage, you know, the general coordination. It feels like they're lacking a grasp right now of how to play the current meta, which is triple tank, triple support. It's super important, requires a lot of teamwork, and that's where this team should be excelling at the end of the day.
I was actually a little bit confused looking at the San Francisco Shock lineup there. We saw Rascal in again. Maybe Wolf can answer that question. Why would you have Rascal in over Architect?
I think in this case, this is something that Monty brought up in their last match as well. I think in this case, they're just trying to get Rascal a little bit more experience on the Brigida after he had a pretty rough match against the Spark. So I don't think we should read too much into it here, but I think Architect is coming as more of a specific player. He was playing things like the Ana on King's Row, so I think they just want Rascal to be that safe flex player that can slot into the Brigida.
Right. Well, definitely a strong performance from the San Francisco Shock, setting that record on Ubani. I know they got to be feeling good about that. And speaking of the other side, the Justice, we've got their star Zarya player, Corey, joining us at the desk next. So don't go anywhere. This is the Watchpoint Post Show.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone. The Path to Pro and the Academy system is alive and well, and our next guest is one of the many results of that. From the Washington Justice, welcome Corey to the Watchpoint desk. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. It was a very interesting day, and you know, we talk a lot about the Path to Pro here on the Overwatch League, and you've got one of those classic come-up stories through the Gladiators Academy and now here at the Overwatch League with the Washington Justice. So how has it felt, you know, being a part of the league?
So far it's actually been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's actually like a huge experience for me, like playing on stage and seeing everyone in the crowds.
Yeah.
After our match today, I hear like people like saying my name in the crowd, and it makes me feel really good inside, actually.
So,
make a name.
if you're looking at the whole experience you had so far here now, what were your expectations, and what does the reality look like? Did anything surprise you so far?
So I actually thought I was gonna be like pretty nervous going on stage, and surprisingly, I wasn't really nervous going on. It was more of like make sure I'm like set up correctly, kind of like how I am at home, or
So shoes off or pants off? I don't know how you pants it off.
like, all right, so I actually thought, you know, I was gonna take off my shoes because like I don't
so you
use,
do that too,
yeah,
okay.
I don't wear my shoes like when I play at home.
Yeah.
But I forget they're on when I play, so you know.
You know, it's totally fair game if you do take your shoes off, though.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
fine.
yeah,
We've had many people do it.
The XQC approach.
XQC, yeah, you take your shoes off.
XQC barefoot approach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can definitely go for it.
I'd say like maybe I gain power level or something. Take them off.
I feel more grounded without my shoes on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually.
there's something about it. There's something about it.
Indeed.
So you've got a lot of fans here. Obviously, you said you felt like you even heard members of the crowd chanting your name and stuff like that. It's giving you a lot of energy. But it's no secret you guys are actually winless at the moment, and it's a bit of a tough question to ask you. But does that add a lot of pressure to you right now? You know, as you're on this new stage.
I wouldn't say it adds a ton of pressure. Even though we are winless right now, we definitely show that we can really fight back against some of the top teams, and even coming really close to actually winning. It just comes down to one team fight, and it's not really too much of pressure.
That's good to hear.
Fair enough. So to add on to Wolf's point, so you've got a lot of good pieces in terms of teammates, I would say. Like, I don't know if you heard me earlier on the show. I was like saying, you know, this team that you've got the pieces there. I'd like to hear your opinion, actually, on what you guys think that you're missing that's really just kind of escaping you from getting a few of these wins here and there. Because like you said, you're quite close to kind of getting it. You know, the game of Overwatch, you just need one team fight, and sometimes that can be the difference maker.
So I think sometimes we get a little overzealous. We're
Okay.
like, oh, we're right about to win, you know?
Yeah.
And we get a little overzealous and like kind of skip some steps that we usually do before fights. Like, what else do they have? How do we want to play against it? What are we going to use? And sometimes we end up skipping that step and we find ourselves in a pickle.
Is that something you only experience when you're on stage or also in scrims? Is it just a general, like, being a young team and having to figure that out?
It happens a little bit in scrims as well. It's a little harder on stage just by kind of like the headsets and like the noise and all that. And everyone's really excited to play on stage and play in front of everybody. But yeah, it happens a little bit in scrims as well, but it's something that we're fixing.
Right. Composure is a whole different thing. It's hard to gauge, really, to be honest. All right, so Corey, let's get off the hard-hitting questions. It's time to test how quick your reflexes are. We got some rapid-fire questions that we like to do here at the desk. So just give us the first thing that comes to your mind when we ask you these questions. All right, you ready?
Okay, ready?
All right. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Wait, guys. You ready?
Ready.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Okay, who's your best hero?
My best hero is Widowmaker.
What's your go-to pump-up song?
Pump-up song? Ooh, I don't really think I have one.
Dude, 5 seconds?
I don't have one.
You don't have one? Okay.
Tough one for you. How'd you get your gamer tag?
Birth.
Birth? Oh,
Great answer.
Corey Matthews or Corey in the house?
Corey in the house.
Okay, you don't know who Corey Matthews is, do you?
I do not.
Too young.
All right. Who's the best wizard? Is it Harry Potter, Gandalf, or Wizard Young?
Wizard Young.
Oh my God.
Safe play.
Best team in the Atlantic.
I don't even know.
Mate, you and me both. Let's go. Me and you both.
All right, who's your funniest teammate?
Either me or Stratus.
Okay.
I think it's you. There we go.
You say you.
So far, seems like it.
I like it, though. I like it.
I like it.
I would answer every question like that with, like, that's me, obviously.
I would. All right. Well, thanks so much, Corey. But we're not done with you yet, so stay right there. You're going to help us break down our 5 most over-the-top moments of the day. You ready?
Ready.
All right. Here we go. Coming at you, number 5. McGravy gets flat tired.
There we go.
Drops him out the shooter.
Taking his shoes off. Relatable.
We've been seeing this a lot in sports lately. People just coming out of their shoes. You know, shoes just blowing up on them.
Corey, is this one of the things you were afraid of when you joined the Overwatch League, that you were going to drop your shoe on stage?
I've yet to be attacked from the back yet, but I think Fozix has gotten flat tired at least once.
All right, moving on. We got the Dragons heartbreaking monstrous C9 at the end of Dorado.
This should be number 1.
This one stung.
This was the highlight of my day, I think. No, and I'm saying that as a Shanghai Dragons fan, because it was the worst Charlie Niner I have ever seen.
It might be the worst
history
on
of
record.
Overwatch.
Yeah.
I think it's the worst on record.
Is that something you're afraid of as a player on stage, that eventually could happen to you?
You know, yeah, a little bit.
Just stay on point. Just stay on
Get on
point.
the cart, please.
All right, guys, coming up next, we got Soon getting a taste of victory here on Helios. Let's take a look at his tongue. Look at him. He's like Michael Jordan with his tongue out here. Look at this camera. You see that?
I didn't notice this during the match.
Bro, I don't know how to
We need
even
more
respond
player
to this.
cams.
More player cams necessary indeed. Next up, Tavik on that May getting that crazy head
Oh, my goodness.
on Sombra. Was it luck or did he
Dude,
know? Did he know?
Check his mouse. That's all I'm
check his
saying.
mouse,
Check those
yeah.
peripherals, bro. This guy's coming out here like Flusher, and that's all I'm saying. Like, come on.
I think he had a general idea of where Sombra was, and that's still pretty impressive.
All right, and last but not least, DeFran and Masa with their powers combined, coming off with one of the sickest grabs that we have ever seen in Overwatch history right here.
so good we're showing it twice.
It's so good. It's just too good.
Let's do it thrice.
I almost
There
feel
we
like we
go.
just need to have a moment of silence to just enjoy this.
Just enjoy. I can't believe they found this off Reddit, bro, as well, though. That's the thing. They're like,
He apparently announced it too. Beforehand, he did tell some members of the Houston Outlaws, I believe it was, like, I'm gonna do something really sick, dude. Like, watch that.
So fitting
watch
for
the
that.
game. You know when you see it. Oh yeah, we did.
So fitting. DeFran, over the top for over the top. Anyways, guys, those are our most over the top moments of today. Now let's see who you are all cheering for on Twitch. Of course, the Atlanta Reign still on top over the Hangzhou Spark, NYXL, Houston, and Dallas. Dallas making their way up, and cracking the top 10, the Shanghai Dragons. Isn't it amazing what winning will do for you? It'll get you up there on the board. And keep those bits coming, guys, because those were the teams. But you can end up here on our individual leaderboard. Number TV still on top, but Aperture, he's getting close.
Pronounce number 10 for me.
He's closing in. What?
Do it. Do it.
Number TV?
The number 10 spot.
Oh, I didn't look.
U50 Type 9.
No way.
You do it.
U50 Type 9.
Why don't you do it?
No.
Guys,
Really?
It's like U505 Type 9 or something. I don't know.
well, next time I'll get it. All right, guys, you love to see all those donations, so please keep them coming. And big thanks to Corey for stopping by. It was great having you at the desk with us. But don't worry, guys, if you have any questions with him, he'll be on our live Q&A for Twitch All Access right after the show. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back with some more Watchpoint pre-show. Now, here's a quick look at what we've got in store for tomorrow. Boston takes on Toronto. We've got the Sparkburst, the Gladiators, the Valiant still looking for their first win, and the NYXL trying to remain undefeated. Zoe, what are you looking out for tomorrow?
I think for me, it's got to be the last game of the day. NYXL taking on the Seoul Dynasty. It's going to be a good one. There's so much ancient rivalry and history between those players.
Indeed.
And I want to see Jonak and Ryu Jeohong facing off against each other, since it is kind of a, you know, the scholar like facing off his master and whatnot. So it's gonna be story-wise at least a really good one.
Indeed, indeed. What about you, Brent?
For me personally, I was going to say the last match of the day,
Sorry?
but Zoe just kind of snuck in there and took that one. So instead, I'm going to be looking forward to Boston Uprising. I think I want to see if they can continue this sort of dominance that they've been showing against the Seoul a little bit earlier. You know, if they can continue this, I think they're going to be potentially looking like one of the best teams well, I don't want to say the best teams, but they're definitely up there. You know?
They're up there.
I don't want to overhype
good.
them just yet.
They've been looking good.
Again, the president of gaming, he might be listening. You know, I don't want to, again, big up his ego. It seems to be a recurring theme so far on the show, but yeah.
All right, Wolf, what about you, bro?
For me, I mean, I think we all kind of had the same thoughts here, NYXL versus Seoul Dynasty. I'm excited for Jonak versus Jaehong, but I'm also really excited to watch NYXL play. I think it's going to be a one-sided match, but for me, I'm not watching for the close match or really that rivalry. I'm actually watching to see NYXL's play and try to learn from them because they're looking so good right now.
Yeah, that's sick. Me personally, looking forward to Fisher and Mono going head-to-head. I think that's going to be awesome. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks again, Corey. We'll see you all again tomorrow for the pre-show live at 11:30 Pacific. Peace out, everyone.